Monday, everybody. Welcome back to the Couchside Judges. I'm Scott Fontana. Follow me on Twitter at Scott_Fontana.
And I'm Dan Urban. Follow me at the Dan Urban. Follow the podcast at Couchside Judges. And subscribe to us on YouTube. And Apple.
Yeah, I was going to say, but only there. Never subscribe anywhere else.
Spotify, too.
Okay, do those. That's fine.
And as always, we talk judging in MMA. So make sure you're brushed up on that criteria by reading it. It's 3.5 pages.
Takes a while. Take it to the little boys or girls room with you. Dan, we're coming off a weekend where there were no major North American MMA events going on. None of the big promotions from our country doing their thing. But we obviously did have some big combat sports going on involving a mixed martial artist.
Yeah.
There's this guy, Francis Ngannou. You ever heard of him?
I have heard of him.
Okay. They say he hits hard.
Say he hits hard.
That's what I've heard. And yeah, apparently he actually hit Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight boxing champion, pretty hard in their boxing match.
Yeah.
I did not get the chance to watch the fight live yet, but I was following along on social media. I was out today with some friends.
Okay.
At a little Halloween party and party. That's how you pronounce the word.
Yeah.
There's an R sound in there. Don't worry about it. Obviously, I'm better at biology than this.
Yeah, for sure.
Pronunciation of normal, regular words. But anyway, I missed the fight, but I was following along as best I could. And we had a good little knockdown there from Ngannou in the fight. He didn't get the win, but as I understand it, at least, and again, I'm going to go watch it when I can. Very competitive fight.
I won't watch it.
You're not going to watch it?
I'm not going to watch it.
See, I like boxing more than you do, I think, is what it is. You really don't care about boxing
at all. I can care less.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mike Tyson is not a boxer anymore, so I don't care.
Actually, if you believe the UFC video game, he is a mixed martial artist.
That's true.
Yeah. Him and Muhammad Ali and Fedor, they're all in the game. You know who's not? Francis Ngannou. Yeah,
boxing is just, I have so little interest.
That's fine. So. That's fine. I was fascinated by this fight. Not enough that I felt the need to spend $80 to watch it live or take time out of the middle of my day because, again, it was the afternoon. It was in Saudi Arabia, and I had things to do. So wasn't going to do that. Didn't have to watch it for work or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm curious either way. But yeah, it sounds like he acquitted himself reasonably well, especially against the number one heavyweight boxer in the world, considering this was his pro boxing debut. I think everything is sounds like he's like a just total winner on this and definitely a win for him personally, and the fact that he validated his choice to strike out on his own from the UFC.
Yeah, UFC are the big loser today.
Giant losers.
So,
how do you not say, well, we could probably take a slice of this pie and just let him do it?
Yeah, just let him do it. Because you know what? I don't think they actually trusted he'd be able to handle a boxer.
I have no idea what their motivation was, but I can tell you this. It was extremely short-sighted to not realize that they had somebody in Francis Ngannou they could do something with.
Yeah.
Because then you can, coming off of this, you still have him under contract. Not only could you decide, we could do another one of these, but we could also put him against John Jones, which is the other giant heavyweight fight that people want. And we're probably just not going to get.
Well, no, we're never getting it.
Yeah.
Never getting it because people are too stupid.
What if we get it in like 10 years?
I mean, the crazy thing is, Ariel brought this up. Both promotions have are on ESPN. Mm-hmm. Like ESPN, why can't ESPN be like, listen, you're going to do this, and that's that?
I don't think it's going to work that way.
But I don't think
I know what Ariel's saying. I know what he's doing, and I can sort of see the logic, but I don't see that be a real thing.
Like ESPN should be like, no, you're going to do this. You're doing it, but it's not going to happen.
I don't think they can dictate terms like that.
But they should. They should at least bring that mental attitude to the table. Say, listen, you figure it out. You're doing it.
Maybe it has been brought up.
Forget this Stipe fight. That who cares? Stipe hasn't fought in half a decade. No one cares.
Quarter of a decade.
Whatever. John Jones just got hurt. Francis is the biggest in the world. We're doing it. We're doing it right now, and that's that. But they're not going to do that.
Well, like I said, they don't even put him in the video game anymore.
I mean, is the video game any good?
It's. Did you play UFC 4?
Yeah.
You played UFC 5.
Okay. Well,
but no submission minigame. It is better in that sense.
I want the good career modes, and they just don't have that.
Did you play the career mode of UFC 4?
Yeah.
Then you play the UFC 5 one.
Okay, that's terrible.
That's about right. I will say, though, because Fedor is in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you can select real fighters to play your career mode,
Mm-hmm.
to hear the same generic
I heard about this.
guy
Yeah.
do the voice of every single fighter.
Someone did it with Khabib, and someone said, "All right, I'm returning this game."
Honestly,
So
it's just endless comedy. It really is hilarious to watch Fedor Emelianenko, the stoic Russian, and who obviously we know what his voice sounds like, and to hear this like generic, like off-brand Mike Perry voice coming out of him is a little hilarious.
interesting.
And I enjoyed that. Just, without the colorful N words coming from a white dude,
Okay.
definitely better to not have. But anyway, talking about heavyweights and thinking about heavyweights this weekend, and the fact that we did not have any live fights that we intended to watch for contested rounds, we decided to go back, you and I, sir, to Pass Judgment.
Yep.
Which is a segment we just don't do very often anymore. We reserve it for weeks like this where, we've not necessarily got something else special planned. We've not necessarily got any contested rounds to go over, but still fun to look back at these fights from time to time and, kind of just see what the scoring was like, see how they scored it back then, see how we might score it today, and put it in the context of our own little CSJ criteria.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of standout heavyweights, we decided as a tandem that we go back to 10, 11 years now, 11 years for this fight. Junior dos Santos against Cain Velasquez, number 2.
Yeah.
Now that's not a competitive. I don't know about you. I was just kind of curious. How lopsided is this fight real? Because I didn't remember it quite as well. I remembered it being very lopsided and like just a total beatdown, but like I couldn't remember when and where it was so lopsided and what happened, and of course would not have known how we would score it today in either our criteria or in the actual ABC criteria.
Yeah, I mean it's not as lopsided as GSP Hardy or Khabib Quinta.
Yeah,
It doesn't touch that level, but I mean
it's
close for a heavyweight fight.
We'll get into it, right?
For a heavyweight fight, I think it's probably the most heavyweight,
especially one for that goes the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look back at that fight, the second of their 3 fights. Before we do, of course, it's been a while. Why don't we remind our listeners how the CSJ criteria works?
Well, I would have to bring that up.
That would be something to do. Yeah, I would bring that up for people.
Because, I mean, I don't even remember the last time we did a Pass Judgment.
Oh, was it? I don't know. A while.
We score using the ABC criteria based on effective striking and grappling in the 3Ds, damage, dominance, and duration. 10-9 is a round where neither fighter checks off a D to a strong degree. 10-8 can be considered for 1D but must be given for 2Ds. A 10-7 can be considered for 2Ds but must be given for all 3. The rare 10-10 is for partial rounds and basic staring contests. We've eliminated effective aggression and area control because it's extremely rare. Judges will use these anyway. I think after that episode we had, we should revisit our own wording and get rid of can consider.
Really?
I think, yeah, forget giving us any subjectivity.
Any leeway?
Yeah.
Well, that's for another day. We'll decide that
Because
another
we don't
time.
want to be hypocrites.
That's true.
Anyway, set up JDS in Cain too.
I will. It was this was the headliner of UFC 155. Mind you, we're approaching 295 at this point.
Some would argue it shouldn't have been the headliner, but go on.
Yeah, some might. People who really love Jim Miller. That is true. In a very classic fight that he won over Joe Lozon, of course.
Yeah.
Which would probably have been something we should have just watched for fun before this, right?
Yeah, it's super bloody.
It was amazing. But that was actually on December 29th, 2012. Like I said, it was just about 11 years ago at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Dos Santos was 28 years old coming into this one, 15-1, had just won the belt from Cain Velasquez 13 months earlier. It was that 64-second knockout, and he actually did have time to defend it in between. He had defended for the first and only time, against Frank Mir 7 months before this fight. Now, Cain's 30 years old coming into this one, 10-1. That only loss, of course, to JDS on the first ever Fox card. That was what that was.
Yeah.
But in between and on the same night as Dos Santos' title defense, he did beat Antonio Bigfoot Silva by first round TKO. The first of 2 times he would do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird. I was saying to you before when I was looking, I was like, Cain
Yeah.
Velasquez, his entire time at the top was basically 3 fights with JDS, 2 easy wins over a very overmatched Bigfoot Silva, and then he drops the belt to Fabricio Verdum, and that's it.
You know what?
It's a strange run because I still think of him as a fantastic and amazing heavyweight who was like truly dominant, but also did not get to face a whole lot of different competition.
Yeah, I mean, from when that
He beat Brock Lesnar.
That stretch he did from when he wins the belt first against Brock spans almost 10 years.
It's a long time.
And that's for 10 years, that's not a lot of fights.
He had a lot of injuries. He had a lot of trouble staying healthy.
Yeah, while he wasn't one of my guys.
I know you like your guys to be. Judges for this one were Marcos Rosales, Glenn Trowbridge, and Tony Weeks, the only one of whom is still actively judging in Nevada. Referee, he's still very active, Herb Dean. Let's get to round 1, my friend. What happened here?
Round 1, Cain starts very aggressive, gets a takedown. They scramble back to the feet. JDS is just like a cat. Quote Joe Rogan.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
you got to at least attribute it to the guy who said it.
Cain presses forward most of the round, landing some shots. JDS is landing some, but definitely it's in Cain's favor. Then he drops him with a right hand with like 2.5 minutes left. JDS is down, and he just gets swarmed. Nonstop punches to the face. Big damage, basically for the rest of the round.
And the only thing he's really doing is just like trying to get up. He's not like blocking anything.
I think JDS is in a bad way.
In a terrible way.
Yeah, he's just toppling over anytime he gets close to standing up. Equilibrium completely shot.
But he's not like, you're not watching this and saying, all right, it's probably time to stop it either. At least I didn't really get that feeling.
He's trying to stand up, but it's also like if they stopped it, I would have had 0 issue.
I guess I probably wouldn't, but also I'm very, like, I think Herb Dean did a great job letting it go.
Yeah, this is a title fight. So.
Yeah.
10-7 Velasquez.
I think 10-7 Velasquez in our system, of course, as well. I think we have a good amount of damage here, which puts it over, and it's for a sustained period of time. Totally outclassing him at this point. You know, it's competitive-ish before that, I do think, but I think ultimately what we have is the damage puts it over in a way that seems strong enough that we must give, or not must give, right? Can consider, because I'm only talking about kind of 2 here, maybe 3, I guess. Nonetheless, 10-7.
But also, I think this would be 10-8 in ABC.
Yeah, and
so
2 judges even at the time felt this way. This was before the criteria was adjusted in 2016. 2 judges, Trowbridge and Weeks, had the 10-8 for Cain Velasquez. It was Marcos Rosales who gave the 9 here. I feel like, things were different, right? But 2 judges giving the 8 here, I feel like that does speak to the fact that, this probably met the criteria for the 8. I wonder what Marcos Rosales saw here.
Yeah, and Tony giving the 8.
Tony Weeks, slipping a little 8 in there. A little 8 action. Round 2.
Well, Cain starts where he left off. Takes JDS down, lands some good punches, just a relentless mauling, as Rogan puts it. I think JDS is cooked. Cain just continues to smash. Dos Santos has such little offense, and any offense that he does have is just so ineffective when he's able to actually swing a punch.
I thought this was easily a more like lopsided round.
So Cain just did exactly what he wanted with good impact for the entire round. He took him to Flavortown for the Triple D. It's 10-7 Velasquez.
This is a hard 10-7 for our system, too. This is like a very strong one. I feel like there's maybe just a little bit of a case that it could be an 8 in our system in the last round. Not a good one. But here, I thought this was even stronger.
Yeah, this was, he had everything.
Yeah. So I went the 7-2, which on both of our cards, we now have it 20-14 for Cain Velasquez, which obviously is very lopsided, but also not an altogether impossible margin to come back from in theory, because it's very achievable to get these 7s too. Obviously, I think we know that doesn't really go that way, but but yeah, it's actually not the majority score to give the 8 here, which I think was fascinating because it does feel like this is the round that's actually much more like one-way traffic.
Yeah, I think probably because round 2 just lacks that one big moment.
It doesn't have that. Yeah,
it doesn't have that.
That makes sense.
He's hurt, moment.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like jump down anybody's throat, especially for a fight that was 11 years old, and the scoring was different, right? But Yeah, obviously Glenn Trowbridge did see an 8 here. He actually stuck with the 8 he gave the previous round. It was Tony Weeks who went to a 9 for this one. He adjusted his score. And if Marcos Rosales wasn't going to give the 9 in the first round, I guess I could see why he'd probably, or give the 8, excuse me. He probably wasn't going to give the 8 here either, even though I do feel like this is a case that's almost, they're different rounds. They really are just kind of different from one another, round 1 and 2.
It's a total shutout.
That's kind of what it was. I think it's a shutout. I think he earns the 8, which again in our system is really more of a 7. So I like that. Trowbridge now has it 20-16 for Cain Velasquez. Weeks has it 20-17, and Rosales has it 20-18. And this is kind of what we're looking at here is one of the most dominant starts that I think we've evaluated in terms of our scoring of the CSJ scoring. So I don't remember distinctly if in those other 2 fights you name checked GSP Hardy and Khabib versus Iaquinta. Do you remember if we gave 7s in each of the first 2 rounds? I
don't remember the exact rounds. I know they got 7s. I don't know which rounds though. Yeah, because I think the final scores on those were 50-39.
Yeah, but 20. Both. No, they were. But 20-13, 20-14, excuse me, jumps out at me as like I don't know if I've seen us do that.
Yeah, it might not be in. I don't know. I can't remember.
I'd have to go back for sure.
To be honest, I pulled that up. That's GSP Hardy is the one I pulled up so I could read our criteria.
Oh, nice.
So I could tell you. I went 8. I don't know what you went.
Okay.
I went 9 in round 2.
Okay, so definitely not that.
I went 8 and 3.
It might have been in the Iaquinta one though.
I went 7s and 4 and 5 in that.
Khabib and Iaquinta, because that was another one that I remember starting more lopsided and kind of cooling off too, which is sort of what happens here, right? Starting round 3.
Yeah. Round 3 here. JDS is actually winning early on the feet for about 30 seconds. But
it looked okay for a bit.
Once Cain starts landing, he keeps the fight standing against the cage in a clinch for pretty much the whole thing. He's just pulling away with his strikes, but I do think JDS started to land a good amount, and he landed some hard ones. That weird elbow he's throwing is like the strike that's landing the most. But I don't think Velasquez had that much going for him in this round outside of just winning it 10-9.
There's a big drop off. There's a big drop off.
Yeah.
In terms of the amount of offense both going his way and coming back his way from JDS. It's increasing.
Yeah.
I don't think you would give it the other way. I don't think it would be the greatest to go the other way, and none of the judges did. But yeah, I'm with you. I see 10-9 Velasquez. I don't think it comes even close to getting anything more than a 9, even in our more liberal system.
Yeah.
So so that puts us again same scores. This puts us at 30-13, 30-23.
30.
I'm a mess tonight, man. I don't know. I can't talk, can't read, can't do math. 30-23 Velasquez from both of us. All 3 judges did also have the 10-9 here. Good score, fair score. So Trowbridge is at 30-25, Weeks at 30-26, and Rosales at 30-27. Round 4, man.
Pretty much the same round as round 3. JDS is finding a home for his strikes. That sneaky elbow is landing pretty often that I mentioned.
Sneaky or cheeky?
Sneaky.
I was just going to say, what if Bisping was on the call? Would you call it cheeky?
Maybe.
He likes to use that.
Cain still working the clinch, landed some good strikes. I think it's just Cain, 10-9.
I do too. But actually, I don't know. Watching this one, I think this is the round. I could kind of see someone watch this and be like, you know what? JDS had a decent round here. I still wouldn't give it that way.
I think that's 5.
Is it 5?
No, maybe not. No, it's not 5.
I could have swore it was this
it's round 4.
I could have swore it was this one. Yeah,
it's round 4.
He's doing okay here.
It's like
he really is.
I could see it. Yeah, I can see a slight case if someone wanted to score for JDS.
Yeah, and I didn't. I also had it like you. I had it for Velasquez. I think he does keep it, but just it's the damage that's being done isn't necessarily to such a high degree from Velasquez anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's no new damage really on the face of JDS, which his face is a mess.
Oh, it's disgusting, but you can't just keep rating the same defense from previous rounds.
Yeah.
At least I can't see why you would, unless it had gotten worse or affected him more. I don't know. I don't see it. So, but yeah, again, I have a 9 here for Velasquez. We're on the same page. 40-32 is our cumulative score through 4 rounds. All the judges had 9s here for Velasquez, so no drama, none of that. So we're at Trowbridge, 40-34. Weeks, 40-35. And Rosales, 40-36. Round 5.
It feels like Cain's starting to tire here, but he continues with his
fair.
with his relentless pressure. He's just going forward. And somehow JDS isn't really getting taken down right away anyway. Like, how does he still have the energy? I'm kind of shocked with that. But he is getting beat up against the cage. He doesn't really have that much offense this round. When Cain does, he does get it to the ground briefly for probably like 30 seconds, I think. He does land some decent punches from top, half guard. JDS gets it back to the feet, but he's stuck against the fence. I just don't think he went to Flavor Town this time. Almost got an 8.
No flavors?
But I think even in our system, at best, it's an 8.5. So I went with the 9.
Yeah, I wasn't getting as close to the 8 as even you were. I see a 9 here.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, I think it's more that JDS really had almost another shutout round, but not as bad as
no, that's fair. But
as round
yeah.
2.
No, I would still disagree with even pushing for an 8, to be perfectly frank. But you know, it is what it is. We still settle on the same number.
Yeah,
it is what it is. So, 10-9 Velasquez, which gives us, at least you and me, 50-41 cumulative scores in the CSJ system for Cain Velasquez. So still not quite to the level of those 2 fights we were talking about before, but very, very, very one-sided. And I think that score is pretty indicative of that fight.
For sure.
It's a good indicator. All 3 judges also saw it 10-9. Their final scores here were Glenn Trowbridge giving the 50-43, Tony Weeks 50-44, and then Marcos Rosales had the plain and simple 50-45, which again, I don't think is that indicative of the fight we watched. And that's why, at the very least, Trowbridge's score, you look at it and say, oh, okay, something happened here. You know, so there's a bit of a car crash. But I like 50-41. I think when you can stack it against other fights that are scored in a similar way, and you see 50-41, you really understand what happened here. It's like, wow, this was pretty lopsided for a while.
When you see 50, like that's because 50-45. So essentially, after 3 rounds, it was 30-27. Are you saying because they say? I mean, I don't think Jamie Varner and Melvin Gillard was the same 30-27 after 3 rounds
earlier on the event. Yeah,
like it's just not the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we need to be able to.
I like a more diverse score set. Yeah. I like it. I think it's better. I just do. But yeah, I don't think we live in that world yet.
Well,
maybe
one day.
One day when we rule the world.
Yeah, when Dana retires.
So when he drops dead at age 89?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. No, when he wants, he's like, listen, UFC, you guys suck. Slaps where it's at. I'm done. I just want guys slapping each other in the face with no defense. Mm-hmm. All offense.
Dana no slaps. Very well. But that is it for that fight. Of course, there was the trilogy fight that did happen subsequent to this one, less than a year later, actually. And really, we're only about a week or 2 past the 10-year mark of the end of this trilogy, which ended by a 5th round. It was
TKO
a
right?
slam-induced KO in round 5 for Cain Velasquez to shut the door on the trilogy. But that is it for these this trilogy here. We were just watching a part of that 3rd fight. Yeah. I'm curious if there were any like potential 10-7 rounds or anything like that. We weren't seeing anything.
No.
But we only watched through round 2?
We watched through round 2.
Okay. Yeah. So
I would have fell asleep around 3.
It wasn't the same type of fight.
It's 3:15 in the morning.
It is pretty late. We're recording a little late. On Saturday entering Sunday morning, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's it for Past Judgment. Why don't we just look ahead to this coming weekend and call it a wrap? We've got UFC Vegas 82 coming up from the Apex. Jailton Almeida headlining against Derek Lewis. It was supposed to be Curtis Blades. Blades gets hurt roughly a month ago, and in steps Lewis for a heavyweight headliner. Do you like this one? Obviously, they're making this on the fly, so sometimes these things happen.
I'm a fan of Almeida. Kid's got it all.
I have no idea if he has it all. I'll be honest with you. I've seen him get takedowns and then maul people on the ground, and I haven't seen him do enough else. And I was kind of hoping
that's all he needs.
That going against a lot of people, and he may do well and good with that against Derek Lewis. But that's what I was hoping to see him against Curtis Blades. I wanted to see
another wrestler.
What would happen if he met something a little different, a little bit of a different challenge? We don't get that this time.
Well, he might eat a flying knee. It's over.
I mean, he certainly could. Certainly could. I hope he's got his powder to cool off those those cojones.
I thought I saw he's got a sponsorship
He
from
did get a
Manscaped
sponsorship, yeah,
or
that's right.
something.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully that helped. You could use like Gold Bond too. Maybe that'll cool things down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in Nevada though, right?
We are in Nevada. There again, we're not split among two promotions this weekend, so expecting good quality judging that we typically get in Nevada. That would be great. I don't know how you felt about the rest of the card. Not a whole lot of fights like really jumped out at me.
Couple did for me.
I think we do have 2 heavyweight fights on the card, which is, kind of a bummer in and of itself. But I personally, the one I highlighted, and if you have more, feel free, but I highlighted Junior dos Santos going against Renat Fakhretdinov.
Yeah, that should be decent.
I want to see what Fakhretdinov can do. Here's an interesting challenge. I'd like to see how this goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, I'm definitely not interested in Montserrat Ruiz. Got no interest there.
Mm-hmm.
Got no interest in Angela Hill, Denise Gomes,
which is probably going to be contested rounds. Let's face it.
Modestas Bukauskas. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, okay, sure.
We got the Bonfim brothers who only fight on the same card apparently.
Deal.
Adolfo Vieira, Caio Barrayo.
I used to Bahayo, yeah. I used to be more excited for Vieira fights, but I don't know.
Yeah,
he tires too quickly and it gets a little draggy sometimes. Sometimes it's a lot of fun though.
For sure. I mean, hopefully this is the swan song for Angela Hill. Regardless, like she's 15-13. It's kind of ridiculous at this point that we got to talk about split rounds for this level. For 15-13 fighter, I'm over it. Like Denise Gomes, just stamp it out.
I think it's Denise
or Denise Gomes. Gomes. Just end it. Don't make this. We have to talk about this unless it's our favorite finish on your end.
You have very much soured on Angela Hill.
Oh, and she, I was kind of high on her. Like I was like, oh, I like watching her fight, and then she just can never just accept a loss. She's always robbed. I mean, I've never seen someone robbed more times than Angela Hill. Like very, very annoying. Also, I should point out, this will be a later in the week episode.
Yeah, that's true. You are going to
be in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yes. I can see how going to Las Vegas when the UFC is in Las Vegas can make things harder for us.
No, Scott, actually, you said we're in Nevada. We are not in Nevada.
We're not in Nevada?
We are in Brazil.
We're in Brazil?
We're in Brazil.
Did I make that up entirely?
Yeah, you got to correct that.
Oh,
we're not
man.
in Nevada.
Oh, I'm just a dummy. Man, I can't do anything tonight.
We are in Brazil.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. Scotty's tired.
Apologies.
Scotty's tired. Yes, it is in Brazil. Sao Paulo?
It is in Ibirapuera Gymnasium in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
That's right. That makes more sense. Where did I get that from? I thought I looked it up.
That's
I'm
all right.
obviously exceptionally tired.
We got 13 fights, and we'll talk about them probably on a Wednesday release, maybe.
Is that what it's going to be? It's going to be that late?
I fly in on Tuesday night.
What are you going there for? What are you doing?
I'm going to watch...
Not judging fights.
Not judging fights. I will be there for the Super Bowl run of the Giants, the journey there.
What?
This year.
Oh, that's right. You're going to a game.
Yeah, tomorrow they're going to, they're starting their run. Well, they started their
tomorrow
run last week.
Being yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday when they beat the Jets handily.
94-3.
They beat the... No, it's going to be a low scoring game.
Oh, sorry.
I got the under.
2-3.
3-2. Yeah, take that. We beat the Commanders last week. That started our run. We beat the Jets this week. We beat the Raiders next week when I'm in town. And we just keep it going. And we end the season probably like 11-6.
You know what's fascinating is right now, I'm looking at you, sir, and you've got the blue collar shirt on. And you've got the beard. And it's not a bald head, but it's a very close shaved head now, buzzed head. And you've got black headphones on. And you very much could just go trick-or-treating as Brian Dable right now.
People in Buffalo will call me Brian Dable.
I mean, you're leaning into it right now, though, dude. I'm telling you.
Listen, I'm going to just start screaming at you and throwing tablets.
Please don't.
All right, we'll be back next week when I return from Las Vegas.
Date to be determined.
I would think Wednesday.
Wednesday? All right, we'll shoot for Wednesday.
I would think Wednesday.
All right, enjoy the fights. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great week and a half.
Take care.